Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal.
EcoBank. Nero Prime Water.
Coming up tonight, Asantehene Otumfuo II urges Ghana Police Service to strengthen discipline and restore integrity.
And also coming up tonight, Ghana Journalists Association demands immediate arrest and prosecution of all Ghana National Fire Service personnel allegedly involved in assault of a class media group journalist.
And later in the bulletin, as schools reopen after the festive season, families face financial pressure.
In business news, Bank of Ghana Governor justifies Gold Board losses as costs for current macroeconomic stability, but makes case for restructuring board's operations.
On the international front, Venezuelan security forces detained journalists as armed police patrol streets days after U.S. troops captured President Maduro.
We have details of all these stories and many more coming up in the next 1 hour. Do stay with us.
Starting from security-related matters, because police checkpoints along the Bolgatanga-Tamale Highway are currently unmanned following the withdrawal of police personnel. The withdrawal follows an earlier attack on a checkpoint at Karimenga by suspected armed robbers, which resulted in the death of a police officer and injuries to others. Our Upper East Regional Correspondent Castro Senyala has more in this report.
The Bolgatanga-Tamale Highway is one of the most important routes in the country. Beyond serving as a vital link for residents of the northern, northeast, and upper east regions, it also functions as a major equals route connecting Ghana to the Sahel region. For a long time, the highway was a busy yet secure and convenient route for many travelers, as the presence of several police checkpoints ensured safety. However, recent violent incidents, including an attack on a police checkpoint at Karimenga on December 28, 2025, which resulted in the death of one police officer and injuries to two others, have raised serious safety concerns. This has prompted the Ghana Police Service to withdraw personnel from checkpoints along the highway. The withdrawal has left many travelers worried.
It's a serious worry for all of us. I've been using this route for the past few days, and I have not seen any police barrier that is mounted by the police service. And we think this is something they need to look into it. It's a serious concern for all of us. And to protect lives, they need to return to their post.
The withdrawal of the security on the road is not good because safety is concerned. Other security reasons are also concerned, especially within this era, in which I believe that when the security are on the road, they will protect the lives and even properties of the people.
Drivers fear the situation will negatively impact their operations.
As the officers were available to give protection and take care of us on the road, we used to work both nights and day. And their withdrawal now, people don't like to travel in the night.
Sometimes policemen are
Indeed, the removal of the police from the highways is troubling to us. This is because it will now give the criminals a free day to do whatever they want on the highway. When the police were on the highway, it prevented armed robbers from attacking us. But now, they will have a field day because there are no police to protect us. For drivers and travelers, the redeployment of personnel to the checkpoints would help deter criminal activity and restore public confidence.
I will call on duty bearers to look into this situation and ensure that the police return to the roads to ensure that people undertake their economic activities in safe conditions.
Our appeal to the government or the stakeholders to see into that matter on how to bring back the police to the roads so that to increase more barriers for us to...
Castro Siela, TV3 News, Karaminga.
And clearly that's a very important connecting route. And from all indications, the security situation has led to the police abandoning post. How serious is this and what kind of implication does it have? Dr. Victor Doke is a security analyst with the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping and Training Center. He's a lecturer there as well. Doc, good evening. Thank you for joining us on TV3.
Hello, Martin. Thank you for having me.
It looks as though the Ghana Police Service is torn between a rock and a hard place. First of all, what would your advice be in approaching this situation where residents are asking the police to come back, but the police, following the attack that took one of their men, have withdrawn from post?
Well, I think, Martin, what we need to get the police directly do is to come out with a clear statement as to the reasons why they withdrew. Because if they withdrew because of the killing of their men, the implications that the criminal elements have won that instance. If not, then it means they have done an assessment in regards to the money for which they were there have it, and hence withdrew. But the issue of personnel just brings to the fore that when we've finished our mandate, only to be here for our men killed. So these two scenarios, we need clarity as to what really happened. But I think in all, it's not only the police. I think the interior minister should also come into this matter. From what the citizens are saying, they are worried. Travelers are worried. And this is equally a national security issue. But it's not only the police as a institution that has to come into this, but I think the Interior Ministry, the overall body that oversees the institution, should also, and we get clarity on what actually happened with the withdrawal.
There is this interesting perspective that many may be losing sight of, which is that we assume the police are supposed to protect us, and that is all. However, there is this school of thought that citizens also have a role to play when it comes to protection. In such a situation where it is an outsider that attacked the police, based on what we are told, what role can citizens play in ensuring that they assist the police in getting to the bottom of this?
This is essential, and it ties to the reason why the Asanteni paid a critical role in the police hierarchy to foster or reiterate the aspect of what traditional or community aspect and formal aspect in the two go hand in support. So if it is an outsider that perpetrated this crime, then it means the community members would offer information in the specific times of what that would help assist these with regards. Community elders, the chiefs themselves will have, and the various regional commands are there. So now it means they have to liaise with these regional commands. That's the first step. But I think the people need clearance because of what has happened in the past, for which the police were taxed, manning the figures. They are really scared it could happen again. How do we, show these citizens that their protection, the lives and property is very paramount? I think now information sharing is very easy, and it boils down to how community members can work. This with regards to intelligence for the people to act on to arrest this perpetrator as soon as possible.
Dr. Victor Doke, thank you for your time this evening. He's a security consultant and also a lecturer at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center.
In more news tonight, the Asantehene Otumfuo II has sounded a firm warning over lapses within the Ghana Police Service, urging the Inspector General of Police to enforce discipline, strengthen core values, and restore public trust amid growing concerns about integrity and political neutrality. He made the call during his maiden visit to the Inspector General of Police at the police headquarters in Accra.
The historic visit, which underscored traditional authorities' support for law enforcement in the country, brought together the Asantehene, top police officials and other traditional leaders. The Inspector General of Police, Christian Tetteh Yohonu, in his address, praised the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II for his exceptional role in peace building, conflict resolution and national development.
I must commend Your Majesty and highlight your role in peace building and conflict resolution, which has had a profound impact on national security. Mentioning your exceptional mediation skills, which have restored peace in numerous conflicts across our nation, compels me to describe you as the King Solomon of our time. You chaired the Committee of Eminent Chiefs that successfully resolved the long-standing Dagbon chieftaincy crisis. Your mediation efforts in Yendi, and more recently in the protracted Boku conflict, to mention a few, have yielded practical recommendations that continue to guide security operations.
For his part, the Asantehene, while praising the IGP for his leadership, proposed closer collaboration between traditional authorities and the Ghana Police Service to enhance policing across the country.
I recall that Christian only recently assumed the position of Inspector General of Police under a cloud at a time when public expectations of the police were high and patience was thin. Within this short period, the impact of leadership has been felt, and we see a style reflecting the essential element in law enforcement: calm authority anchored in professionalism. Tradition and modern law enforcement are not rivals struggling for relevance. They are collaborators safeguarding the same future. When traditional authority respects legal authority, communities stabilize. When police respect local customs, cooperation deepens. When both communicate openly, crime loses its hiding place.
He further called for firm measures to address indiscipline within the service and charged the IGP to work towards making the police service politically neutral.
But we cannot conclude without acknowledging persistent public disquiet about lapses that undermine discipline and engender mistrust. We have to admit, however, attractive the arguments may be, there's going to be more than a mountain to climb if we ignore public concerns about police values. We will urge you, IGP, and your devoted colleagues to seriously tackle issues affecting police integrity and public trust. I also hope that you work towards making the service politically neutral.
More news this evening. It is quite clear that the weather no longer follows a strict calendar. From what was the beginning of Harmattan in December and January, there seemed to have been some exception. Even in the unpredictability, one thing remains constant. When these conditions, like the Harmattan strike, they come with health risks and leave many vulnerable. Samuel Yeboah Adams has more in this report.
For weeks now, many have been waiting for the familiar chill and dusty wind that signaled the arrival of the Harmattan. According to a public weather advisory from Ghana Meteorological Agency, the unusual delay is primarily driven by a significant fluctuation in the position of the intertropical boundary, which has remained further north than usual. That notwithstanding, areas like the northern and eastern parts of the country have seen brief appearances, while the south and other parts of the country are barely feeling its presence. GMET further says, looking ahead of 2026, a transition into a generally weak Harmattan season is anticipated, warning that the public should remain alert for occasional episodes of severe conditions. While the weather pattern remains uncertain, health experts say the risks associated with the Harmattan do not disappear with the delay. Dr. Frank Dodo is the head of Public Health Department at the Ghana Police Service. For him, the delay should not be a moment to relax. Instead, it should be a period of preparation for all.
At this point, the need for every one of us to make sure that we are using oil-based lubricants on our skin. And one of the best you can get is the shea butter. Drink as much water as you can, and nothing less than 3,000 ml in a day. We need to boost our immunity. And boosting our immunity would mean that we are eating very balanced diet and then taking in meals that has a lot of vitamins and minerals.
He further cautioned that some everyday habits, often seen as harmless during the Harmattan season, should be checked as it poses additional health risk.
I know the weather may be cold, and so most of us may tend to want to use warm water. If it's lukewarm, that's fine. But if it's too hot or warm, then chances are you are likely to rub your skin off essential oils, natural oils, and those are also needed to keep the skin lubricated. It's because the weather becomes dry and hot, we tend to love to use air conditions and we tend to use the fan. Between the two, I would say that if you have the opportunity, rather use the air condition. The thing is that because it is dry, you need something that will humidify your environment.
As schools have reopened, workers going back to their routines, and communities facing increased workload, experts say readiness is key because whether the Harmattan arrives early or late, its impact can be just as unforgiving, especially for those caught unprepared.
Let's now continue with the rest of our stories. And Martin, have you paid school fees yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
But
Okay. Well, the festive season may only just have ended, quickly giving way to a different kind of reality. With schools reopening, families are now confronted with costs, all landing at once in what is already considered the toughest financial month of the year. Grace Hamwajiman has more in this report.
Barely weeks after the Christmas festivities, Ghanaian households are being jolted back into another season, back to school. Millions of students across the country are preparing for another term, with some already back in school. For students, it is a good way to begin the new year.
I'm going with Gary, Kivo, and them things. So I'm happy to go back to school.
Milo, and biscuit, drink. I'm excited to go back to school to go and learn, continue my education, then get more time for study.
But behind these excited students are parents who are feeling the pinch. From uniforms and books to transport and feeding costs, parents say the financial pressure this January has been intense.
It's very, very difficult. Because of that, the Christmas, you can't eat it well. You can't enjoy it because the children are going to school. So you have to keep your money and buy their provisions and other things. So that's why it's very difficult for me, the parent.
40-year-old single mother, Patience, has come to the New Plan station to see her child off to school. Patience tells me she had to cut down on her Christmas expenditure to make up for the school expenses.
I'm a single mother. I never paid from bear 14 years. And therefore, Mammy Crabet, Yanko Panda Roma.
I lost my husband 14 years ago, and it's not been easy with the kids. So I save a lot in order to raise the funds I will need.
For other parents, planning is key in order to survive the financial burden.
All the hands are not the same, and people have various types of business that actually predetermines our income. So if you know your strength and you know your responsibility, so for you to plan and plan well, you need to take measures.
Parents should learn to live within their means and not be swayed by trends that are costly.
Financial analysts advise that parents monitor the education structure and make provisions to prevent hardships.
You audit the bill, so look at the bill. Which of these items on the bill can I postpone in terms of paying for like the extra classes, certain levies that you can actually postpone, then be able to manage the cost relating to that. So I think that it's more of communication and planning. But there are some parents that perhaps also have access to some soft loans from their companies or some banks that they are doing business with. If that opportunity is there, you can also take it at least to cushion you for the next 2 to 3 months, whilst you plan to stabilize yourself over a period of time.
The Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, GTEC, as part of measures to prevent students and parents from feeling educational hardship, has instructed the University of Ghana to reduce school fees announced for the term. From jingle bells to school bells, January has definitely become a month of tough financial choices for many Ghanaian households. The cash is proper planning with the hope that the investments made today will secure the future of the next generation. Grace Hamwajiman, TV3 News, Circle Neoplan Station, Accra.
All right. The Ghana Journalists Association is calling for the immediate arrest and prosecution of all Ghana National Fire Service personnel allegedly involved in the assault of a Class Media Group journalist. The president of the association, Albert Jumfo, made the call while addressing a news conference in Accra.
The assault occurred on Sunday, January 4, 2026. During efforts to douse a fire at the Kaswa New Market. Reports say the journalist was filming an altercation between fire personnel and a civilian when the officers turned on him. Describing the incident as disgraceful and indefensible, the GJA is calling for the immediate identification, arrest and prosecution of the perpetrators, warning against any attempt to shield them. The association is now insisting on an apology from the Ghana National Fire Service.
The GJA demands that the leadership of the Ghana National Fire Service, led by the Chief Fire Officer, Daniela Mawusi Into Sapon, publicly condemns this assault, identifies the officers involved, and applies severe internal sanctions. We also call for the immediate dismissal of the PRO of the Ghana National Fire Service from the position because our interaction with him on the case shows that he is unfit to be in charge of communication. Again, the GJA demands an unqualified public apology from the Ghana National Fire Service to Mr. Samuel Addo, the Class Media Group, and the media fraternity.
The GJA also condemns alleged intimidation of a freelance journalist for his investigative work into shady recruitment of Sege youth into the security services.
The GJA also condemns the alleged threats, intimidation, and verbal abuse of Mr. Joseph Akrofi Okansi, a freelance journalist formerly of Eagle FM, by the Member of Parliament for the Sege constituency, Honorable Daniel Keshi Bese, and the Sege constituency NDC communications officer, Mr. Freeman Ejueji. This incident, which followed a Facebook post by the journalist calling for accountability from the MP on how he distributed slots allocated to the Sege constituency for the placement of the youth in the security services.
Meanwhile, the GJA is cautioning leadership of the New Patriotic Party to rein in its supporters ahead of the party's presidential primaries, urging them to refrain from attacking journalists.
The GJA issues a firm warning to the leadership of the New Patriotic Party to clearly caution and restrain its supporters ahead of the upcoming flag bearership contest. Political competition must never be used as an excuse to harass, intimidate, or attack journalists.
At least 8 attacks on journalists have been recorded since 2022, and as calls for accountability intensify, all eyes remain on the police and political leadership to act decisively in protecting media freedom.
Let's now turn our attention to illegal mining, and President John Mahama says the Galamsey fight is beginning to reap its benefits, with major water bodies turning blue. Speaking at the 77th Annual New Year School, the President called on stakeholders in the fight against illegal mining to remain steadfast, highlighting early signs of success in restoring affected water bodies.
The 77th Annual New Year School focused largely on the President's reset agenda and how the general populace should build the Ghana we want. A focus on the government's performance and shaping the drive to economic growth and national development. Business management consultant Dr. Ishmael Yamson, addressing the gathering as a guest speaker, lamented the lack of focus on training of graduates. As the president gets into his second year mood, he made a firm pledge to build a Ghana that will be less attractive to politics of convenience and backwardness.
I've pledged to raise our economy and governance to a level that no succeeding government can reverse. In a region where democracy is backsliding, we must demonstrate that democracy works. I can assure Ghanaians also that we will not relax the current fiscal discipline and efficient management of the economy, even in the election year of 2028. It must be the 17th and the last time that Ghana goes for a bailout from the IMF.
In his first year, the president informed the university community plans to construct a 10,000-bed facility hostel for Legon, with plans of extension to other public universities.
And so we appreciate the work that NIMOS and the River Guards are doing. Apparently, the River Guards had operated upstream where the mining was taking place, and so it had changed the color of the water, and so that's why I'm encouraging you to keep up the fight and even strengthen it.
On the development drive, the president expressed disappointment at the recent congestion on the Accra-Kumasi highway over a church service.
And for those who have spoken against this expressway, I wish that they were in the traffic jam over the new year, when one single church holding a convention brought the Accra-Kumasi road into gridlock for more than 7 hours. I'm looking forward to cutting sword early this year for the commencement of construction of the Accra-Kumasi Expressway.
But as he intends to make governance jealously guarded on the political space, John Mahama says he will take the code of public conduct of his appointees a notch higher with a firm legislation.
Now, the Ochihene Osajifo Amoitio for Repenyin has called for renewed commitment toward protecting the Etiwa Range Forest Reserve. He made the call at Chebi, marking 100 years since the Etiwa Range Forest was gazetted as a protected forest, a process initiated by Nana Se Oforiata.
The Etiwa Range Forest Reserve and its surrounding landscape span more than 52 communities in the eastern region. It covers an area of about 255 square kilometers and lies within the moist, semi-deciduous forest zone, standing as the only remaining upland evergreen forest. The forest is characterized by bosected soils, gold deposit, and other mineral resources. It also serves as a source of three major rivers, the Densu, Birim, and Ayensu, as well as other 99 streams, making Etiwa a protected area that provides water for millions of Ghanaians and stands as one of the country's most important biodiversity hotspots. The Ochihene, together with concerned citizens of the Etiwa landscape, Arocha Ghana, and the Forestry Commission, officially launched the centenary celebration of the Etiwa Forest.
Tropical forest, plant
Reflecting on history, Osajifo Amoitio for Repenyin highlighted the legacy of Nana Se Oforiata, whose efforts led to the gazetting of the Etiwa Range Forest Reserve in January 1926. He underscored the need for effective leadership in protecting the forest and reaffirmed his personal commitment to its conservation.
Leadership has never been about it's for the future. Not together. yɛmmɔ yɛtiwa ho ban.
The Ibakwa South Municipal Chief Executive, Nana Ado Akins, reiterated the forest has come under increasing threat, with legal mining activities and logging becoming more rampant, impacting farming and other livelihoods. Chairman of Parliament's Select Committee on Security and Intelligence, Dr. Zaneto Ajiman-Rawlings, emphasized that economic development must not come at the expense of the environment.
The scourge of illegal mining and the impact it's having on everything, including our food security, water security, our human security. People do not understand that the ramifications are more than what we realize now.
National Director of the Environmental Advocacy, a non-governmental organization, Arocha Ghana, Dr. Seth Apiakubi noted that the importance of the Etiwa forest extends beyond Ghana's borders and must have a seal of a national park urgently. Plans to mine bauxite in the Etiwa Rainforest Reserve have been strongly resisted by civil society groups and other stakeholders. United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 11, 13, 14, and 15 enjoins government to lead citizens to safeguard biodiversity and celebrate processes towards more sustainable and equitable conservation practices by the year 2020.
Well, you're still watching News 360 on TV3. We have business, sports, and entertainment coming right up. Stay with us.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Now, the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Pandit Isiama, has defended the gold board and domestic gold purchase program, saying it was introduced during a period of acute economic vulnerability. He acknowledged the initiative imposed financial cost, but said it was a deliberate national decision to protect Ghana's economy. The Gold Board program was designed to stabilize the city, strengthen foreign exchange reserves, and restore confidence by leveraging Ghana's gold resources. Recent valuations, however, indicate the program has recorded significant losses, raising questions over its cost and transparency.
Judged against the stabilization objective, the program has played a vital role. It is also important to be candid that this stability came at a cost.
Critics have raised concerns over Ghana's exposure to high-risk investments, with some analysts warning that the losses could strain reserves and affect financial stability. Independent economists also caution that unclear reporting may undermine public confidence in the central bank. In response, the Bank of Ghana plans to engage stakeholders to review and adjust the domestic gold purchase program, aiming to reduce risk while maintaining economic stability.
The Bank of Ghana, working with the Gold Board and the Ministry of Finance, we intend to convene a focused policy workshop with experts, with market practitioners and policymakers to examine how this national priority can be refined further in line with best practices elsewhere.
As the government balances short-term costs against long-term stability, the program's review will be watched closely by investors and citizens alike, with implications for Ghana's economy and confidence in the city. Meanwhile, the Bank of Ghana is preparing to roll out diaspora bonds and new investment instruments aimed at converting billions of dollars in remittances into long-term capital for Ghana's economic transformation. The governor, Dr. Johnson Isiama, made the announcement at the Maiden Diaspora Economic Growth Summit in Accra, describing the move as a critical step in shifting remittances from household consumption to productive national investment.
The next phase of our policy focus and a central theme of this summit is to complement remittance inflows with structured investment-oriented instruments. This includes exploring opportunities such as diaspora bonds, collective investment schemes, and other capital market products that allow diaspora savings to be mobilized into productive sectors of the economy while offering transparent, well-regulated returns to investments. And on that note, I have reached out to our fintechs and I've challenged a number of them. Our sandbox is open. If there's a way you can innovate, if there's a way you can engage in the tokenization agenda, if there's a way we can promote investment by the diaspora directly, we are welcome and we are ready. We are welcoming you and we are ready to speak to you.
And that'll be all for the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. We'll bring you updates now from the currency and the commodities market.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Reku Ampofo. Ibrahim Tanko's Medeama Sporting Club have been flying high in the 2025-2026 Ghana Premier League season and sit top of the league at the halfway stage with 34 points. The Moven Yellows are currently on a 14-game unbeaten run as they aim to clinch their first title since the 2022-2023 season. My colleague Mutala Yakubu takes a closer look at their performance in the first round.
The first round of the 2025-26 Ghana Premier League has concluded with Medeama SC sitting at the top of the table. The Miners, who lifted the Ghana Premier League title 2 seasons ago, are determined to reclaim the crown after finishing 8th last season. Following the departure of key players such as Jonathan Soa, Medeama strengthened their squad under head coach Ibrahim Tanko. New additions included Abdul Salam and Salim, with talented youngsters Derek Forjo and Prince Owusu already in the squad. Medeama's title ambitions were evident from the outset, as they recorded back-to-back victories over Young Apostles and Vision FC. However, a subsequent defeat to Karela United served as a timely wake-up call. The response was impressive as the Miners embarked on an 8-match unbeaten run that firmly kept them in the title race. Their momentum was tested on match day 12 against Asante Kotoko at the Baba Yara Stadium. Despite taking a 2-0 lead into halftime, Medeama were forced to settle for a 2-2 draw after surrendering the advantage, a result that allowed Aduana FC to move to the top of the table. Medeama quickly regrouped, going on another 4-match unbeaten run before facing Hartlepool on match day 17 in the final fixture of the first round. Aiming to consolidate their position, the Miners delivered as expected, with former Hartlepool midfielder Salim Adam scoring the decisive goal in a 1-0 victory that ensured Medeama finished the round on top of the standings. After 17 matches, Medeama recorded 9 wins, 1 defeat, and 7 draws with 34 points. Head coach Ibrahim Tanko has stated that the focus is now on thorough preparation for the second half of the season in order to achieve the club's ultimate objective. Despite Medeama's strong showing, the title race remains wide open, with Gold Stars, Asante Kotoko, Aduana FC, and Hartlepool all expected to mount strong challenges in the remaining 17 weeks of the season.
No, I think in the second round we know that it's not going to be easy, but definitely we are going to prepare ourselves very well and then go game by game.
Well, let's do some more here on News 360. And former Black Stars forward Lai Kingston has described Mohamed Salisu's ACL injury as a major blow for the Black Stars after the Monaco defender's season-ending injury was confirmed on Monday evening. Salisu is expected to be out of action for about 8 to 9 months, ruling him out of the 2026 World Cup. Lai made his assertion while speaking on Sports Station.
I think, first of all, it's a very big blow for us, because he's such an important figure at the back. You know, when we talk about experienced players at our back line, I think if he's one of them, and it's going to be a very big blow for us. But then again, we should all understand that injuries are part of the job. You know, no one wish you get injured at this time. But you know, when it gets to these situations, this moment, the World Cup, bigger stage, every player is anxious to be there. So it's a little bit worrying when, as a player going into games, you are being careful, you're thinking about not getting injured to be fit to get to the most important competition in the world. So I think that's what is going through their minds. And sometimes when you overthink too much, that's when you get stressed out, and then you go into games, and then you are not 100% focused. That's when injuries.
Well, moving on to other stories, where Chelsea have confirmed the appointment of Liam Rosenior as the next manager of a surprisingly long-term deal stretching all the way to 2032. The 41-year-old joins the Blues from Strasbourg, where he has spent the past 2 seasons as their head coach. There's more details on Rosenior's appointment in the following report.
Chelsea have appointed Strasbourg manager Liam Rosenior as their new head coach. The 41-year-old Englishman joins the club on a 5.5-year deal with an option for a further season as he replaces Enzo Maresca, who left on New Year's Day. Maresca exited the club after winning 2 trophies, including the Club World Cup. Rosinia arrives at Stamford Bridge after coaching overseas with RC Strasbourg, where he led the French club to European qualification for the first time in 19 years in his first season, and following earlier roles in England with Hull City and Derby County. Rosinia will be in the stands at Craven Cottage when Chelsea face Fulham in the Premier League on Wednesday and will take charge of his first training session on Thursday before Saturday's FA Cup third-round meeting with Charlton Athletic. The new manager inherits a Chelsea side that are currently 5th on the Premier League log with 31 points, just 3 points behind the top 4. The Blues remain in contention to reach the Champions League playoff stage as they are currently 13th with 10 points from 6 matches. The spotlight will be on Rosinia to challenge with the young Cole. But can he do it?
Well, that's a big question to answer for Chelsea. But before we go, let's get updates from the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations and the final 2 games in the round of 16. And it's Algeria who would make it to the last 8 of the competition after they managed a last-minute goal in extra time to beat their counterpart in DR Congo. And so they march on in the competition. And then in the final round of 16 game is reigning champions Ivory Coast, who currently lead Burkina Faso by 2-0. You can get updates on these games and more on our social media handles at 3Sports. My name is Oreku Ampofu.
Payment. Hello again. Coming up, some entertainment tidbits.
DJ Mensah has dismissed claims that Dirty December 2025 was unsuccessful, insisting that December in Ghana delivered strong results. Responding to criticism on X, he cited full hotels, sold-out events, overcrowded restaurants, and high energy in Accra as evidence of success. He argued that much of the backlash comes from people with little knowledge of event organization. DJ Mensah also called on the government to lead a more unified and early promotional campaign to further strengthen the initiative. Launched in 2018, December in Ghana continues to attract large numbers of tourists and diaspora visitors, though opinions on its 2025 execution remain divided.
Ghana! There's business to do in Ghana. You are welcome to Ghana.
Ghanaian music star Amaarae has revealed that she might have pursued a career outside music if her musical journey has not succeeded. In an interview, the singer said she would have chosen a path in medicine or education, noting that she could have become a brain surgeon or teacher. Her revelation sheds light on the intellectual depth behind her artistry. Known for her genre-defined sound and bold creative expression, Amaarae's comments show that her ambitions extend beyond the music industry. As she continues to make her mark on the global music scene, fans have praised her for her diverse interests and appreciation for education, service, and creativity.
Time now for international news.
At least 14 members of the press were detained in Venezuela on Monday as they were covering the aftermath of the seizure of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro by U.S. forces. The union representing media workers in Venezuela said all but one of those detained were employed by foreign news organizations and were released later on Monday, with one reporter deported. Foreign news media have long faced restrictions in Venezuela, with very few being granted visas to work in the country. Their detention came as Delcy Rodriguez was sworn in as the interim president, and shortly after she said that she was willing to cooperate with the Trump administration, which has said it would run Venezuela. Central African Republic President Faustin Archange Touadéra has won a third term in office. Provisional results from the Electoral Commission showed he secured an outright majority in the presidential election held on December 28. The results, announced on Monday night by Matthias Moruba, the country's top election official, showed Touadéra received 76.15% of the vote, while former Prime Minister Ancient Georges Doluguel received 14.66% and former.
Thank you for staying with TV3 for the last hour. That's it for News 360. I am Martin Asiedu.
And I am Portia Gabo. Do join Beatrice Edu at 9 p.m. for Agenda, as well as with Alfredo Kansa at 10 p.m. for Ghana Tonight. Good evening.